Good morning, ladies and gents, and welcome to the EPL Index Transfer Daily. It is Saturday, the 20th of July, and we got some stuff late last night. We've got some stuff today. I suspect it just has that feeling, like we said, it's starting to pick up pace, isn't it, with a lot of different things. So we'll start with a couple of Ornstein bombs. One relates to United and Arsenal, one to West Ham. So the first one, and apologies if I'm pronouncing this player's name wrong, but I think it's Chido Obi-Martin, the young Arsenal youth striker, very well regarded at that level. Hence, David Ornstein writing the story. Looks like he may not renew, in all honesty, or take his scholar contract, as it's called there in the article, with Arsenal. And Manchester United are now exploring a deal. So the way it works, isn't it, ladies and gents? We see Liverpool with Rio Ngoma from Chelsea. Because of the, we'll get into politics, but Brexit, the EU situation, very much if clubs can get the top level homegrown talents, they will go all out for them. They carry a fair weight, don't they, in that regard. We also heard yesterday there were seeing knock-on effects that the Free Print Group's takeover of Everton, that has fallen through. So you wonder what will happen to Everton. Are they going to be in desperate trouble? Is there going to be someone else step forward? What will happen to their assets? That's the other one just to mention. And the final Ornstein bomb came late last night that West Ham have had an offer of 15 million rejected for N'Golo Kante. They are still in talks with Al Ittihad. So we'll see if the former Chelsea man, the World Cup winner, the French international, does come back to the Premier League. What else is going on in the Premier League? A lot with United, a lot with Chelsea as well, stories-wise. So ESPN for United says they're willing to let Antony depart only on loan. They'll accept that as long as someone covers his wages. ESPN says they're about 70,000. Chelsea-wise as well, they're according to the Athletic, they recalled Leslie Uchukwu from Strasbourg, also from the Olympic French squad as well, importantly to say, and they plan to loan him out. Seems harsh that, doesn't it? Ending his French Olympic dream just to sort a loan. But hey-ho, such is the nature of Chelsea. And such is the nature of Chelsea that despite having three keepers on their books, all on long-term contracts. You think Kepa, you think Bakovic, who was in at the end of last season. They are apparently looking for another keeper to rival Robert Sanchez, who is expected to be the number one, which is interesting according to the Telegraph because he was well out the team and Bakovic did well, didn't he, at the end of last season? So we'll have to see what happens there. And also for Chelsea, Court Offside says they've not given up their pursuit of Victor Osimhen, the Napoli striker, but there's a lot of suspicion across the continent that he will be a PSG player by the end of the summer. What else is happening in the Premier League? Well, according to TalkSport, Palace are ready to put a £30 million bid in for Emile Smith-Rowe. We know he's a sort of fringe forward. Arsenal not getting any game time, so could be a good move all round. HITC says that Richarlison, the Spurs player, the Spurs forward, is open to a move to Saudi League, but Tottenham will want £60 million. An interesting one yesterday. This could be one of those ones that's under the radar, but a real good signing for a club if it goes through. Leicester made an improved £21 million bid for Matthias Saul, the Juventus winger who was on loan last season. Left-footed right winger, 21 years old, and they're hoping to get a deal done. HITC also said that there's a lot of clubs still in the mix for Jean-Claire Todibo. So Newcastle, West Ham, and Villa were mentioned. Juventus are red-hot favourites. There's been a lot of reports they've already agreed terms with the players, but that deal is taking time to get done, mainly because Juventus need to raise the cash, apparently. So can one of those three Premier League clubs swoop in? It will be interesting to see. Sticking on the continent, thinking one that relates to the Euros, Dani Olmo. It's important to say it's today that his release clause expires. Remember that one where they have to submit a certain amount? I think it's about 60 million euros, isn't it? Well, there's quite a few reports saying Barcelona are going to trigger that. We'll see if any other Premier League clubs come in for the Euro 24 style. So just an important one to note there. Football Insider says no real shock. Liverpool are prepared to sell Queven Kelleher if they get the right money on the table. And we talked about Palace, Emile Smith-Rowe. Well, another one Another attacking, obviously, Elise's gone. There's talks around Essay, isn't there? So there may be a few incomings and departures at Palace, but we mentioned just there about Smith Rowe. The Athletic has Ismaila Sarr. Do you remember the former Watford winger, the Senegalese international now at Marseille? That they're in talks with him over bringing him back to the Premier Leagues. That'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. There's a couple of bits for Newcastle fans as well. So Newcastle fans, Football Insider says that you've inquired about Noni Madueke, the Chelsea winger. So that'll be an interesting one. And that you're also, according to Two Sport Italian, along with Liverpool, amongst the clubs interested in young Dutch defender at Juventus, Dean Hudson, I think it's pronounced, 19 years old, but the valuation of about 25 million is a bit of an issue right now, but he is seen as a real talent who can bring the ball out from defence. Brighton fans, yeah. Bradley Gruder, I think it's pronounced, remains. It seems very much that you are a lot of reports that you're solidly interested in this player and that you're looking to advance negotiations, according to Romano. The 20-year-old German winger, now nice, we're right at the bottom of the Bundesliga, but he, along with Sepp van der Berg, were the two players that people gave real credit to. So it will be interesting to see, does he make the move at all that way? There's a lot going on, ladies and gents. As I say, it just feels like it's starting to pick up pace, as it were. We'll see if there's any Ormstein bombs. Probably the only other real mention, and looping back to United, it probably feels the good point to finish on. A lot of reports had that Adrien Rabiot is in talks, the French international who's left Juventus on a free, in talks with United to move there. And an interesting one from James Ducker in the Telegraph. He said that Ugarte is the most advanced defensive midfielder, but United are also interested in Martin Zubimendi. That was the defensive midfielder, the Real Sociedad player that came on for Rodri in the final, didn't he? And showed his talent, no doubts about that. So we'll see if anything develops there. There's a few other stories. I mean, we talked about Chelsea's keeper. Matt Law in the Telegraph poo-pooed Lunin, didn't he? The Real Madrid goalkeeper being that player. So we'll just have to see. And we do await news, as a few journalists had yesterday, on Moussa Diaby's move to the Saudi League and Al Ittihad from Aston Villa. So I won't be surprised if we hear news on that. It's all busy, ladies and gents. But there you go. On Saturday, the 20th of July, that was your EPL Index Transfer Daily.